Hey, what I'm going to show you here pretty much blew my mind when I first tried this out. As you can see, Raspberry Pi sitting up here on top of the Apple II's floppy disk drive. I've got an open Xterm on my Mac there, which is just SSH into the Pi, so I can issue commands to it. And I've got the David Schenk's A2PID tools running on this. So if you want to go on over to github.com/DSCHMENK. You can check out the Apple II Pi project which he's built over there, because that's what I'm using. This is pretty cool stuff. What I'm going to show you here is basically using the Apple II to use its keyboard and a mouse, if you have a mouse, to work as basically as a terminal to the Apple Pi. Watch this. So, firing up the Apple II, and it's going to run the executable Apple II client. Alright, so what it's done there, I don't know if you can make it out on the small text on the Mac, but it says I'm reconnected now. So it's connected up to this here. And as you can see, it doesn't look like anything special, but basically it's connected to the Apple Pi at the back there through the RS-232 cable, which is this thing here, running on Dev TTY USB 0. Okay, so we can see the screens here. That doesn't look like anything special, but if I take the composite output from the back of the Apple II and put it into the composite input on the side of the Raspberry Pi, that's when things start to get a bit interesting. So you can see right now that I'm just looking at the monitor output for the Raspberry Pi on my Apple II screen. Again, that's not hugely major. You can see it's holding the sync rate correctly, so you can actually see what the Raspberry Pi is supposed to be putting out. But what you don't expect, I guess, is the fact that when you type on the Apple II keyboard, things start to happen. Now remember, there's no wiring here other than this USB cable, this RS-232 to USB cable that's going between the two machines. And you can see that by issuing commands on the Apple II keyboard, I can launch pretty much anything on the Raspberry Pi from the Apple IIe. And this is just because the software on the Apple II, which is running in memory, is listening to the keyboard events coming from the Apple II and issuing them straight through the USB RS-232 connection into the back of the Raspberry Pi. Pretty clever stuff. It's great for playing about with. Obviously the keyboards themselves, they're lacking a few keys. David Schenk has put in a few overheads for this. He's put in the certain key presses through the open Apple key. Unfortunately, he also uses the closed Apple key, and on this UK version of the keyboard there is no closed Apple key, so I don't know how I'm going to work around that one, but yeah, it's pretty cool.